So Ralph, thank you very much for joining me for Coffee with an Editor. Then you've got some awesome news coming up. I did write about it a couple of weeks ago in terms of the new leasing company. Can you give me some background and what are the thoughts around that?
Well, it's quite simple, really. When we started looking at the slot sales as a new operating model for Transnet, we realized that there would have to be an enabling environment to help people actually take this up. So one of the key issues was rolling stock. In terms of the length of the slot sales, most people wouldn't be able to buy and maintain rolling stock in that time, set it up, the operations, everything. So we thought from a TE perspective, it's a great opportunity for us to look at a leasing model and set up the lease company, as we're calling it now. It's a concept that's been on the table for a while. It's not new to us. We have been leasing to people over the years. But the idea of having a dedicated, I don't want to use a brand name, but a car leasing company would be ideal for us. Simply because we could exploit TE's current capabilities of being able to build and supply to, and then to maintain as well to the lease co. Part of the strategy we had approved in October, we've taken it to the Transnet board, it's been approved, and the plan is now to set up a joint venture with potentially an equity partner, which TE will have the shareholding in the joint venture on behalf of Transnet, because obviously we're not a juristic company ourselves, and then operate it on that basis. We're probably going out on RFP for a partner in the next month or two, hopefully as quickly as possible to get it set up and running. And our objective really is by the 1st of April next year, we should have a lease company set up and running. From our side, we've already started looking at donor stock to the lease company. We have a number of leases in place, which we will then cede to the leasing company as well. We should have by March, end of March next year, 20 locomotives, diesel locomotives, ready to go in class 34, 35, which we're working on currently. We've set up 4 production lines in Kudus, where we're busy stripping old B fleet locomotives and building the refurbished locos. Then we're also looking, obviously TEL is on the table for people who would like a newer locomotive. The first 3 TELs are in fact going out on lease to TFR at the moment. They're in operation down in Saldanha. It's quite exciting for us because when we built TEL, we actually built it as a smart platform. And what we have today now is we have a cloud-based monitoring system. So the moment the TEL starts up, we start monitoring it. Temperatures, what it's doing, how far it's working, that type of thing. In fact, we didn't only do it on the TEL, we've done it on the port hauler as well. The port hauler is in Durban at the moment doing its operational trials. The moment it starts up in the morning, we start logging and monitoring it. It will give you really the opportunity, we hope, to go to condition-based maintenance in future and not time-based. Then there's the refurbished B fleet that we're currently working on. We've done pretty well this year with resale of locomotives as well. And then we have a project where we're looking at totally repowering the class 35. So clearing the whole top deck, keeping the chassis and the bogies, which is the most expensive part, putting a new engine in, looking possibly at using our control system that we have on the TEL at the moment, the AMRI, but otherwise using one of the traditional OEM operating control systems, and then putting a new cab on it as well.
So you were speaking about this, I think, when the Kenyan president was here. So it's one of the progress being made.
Yes, for sure. We have the design completed. We've sourced most of the main components, stripping a loco down and starting the build.
So you will go to market, if I understand correctly, with the new leasing company with 20 diesel locomotives.
Yes, by January we'll have that. By March we'll have 20. Yeah.
Okay. I think in our market currently, and if we just take the recent open sale slots with Transnet Freight Rail, I think the biggest challenge has been the fact that the Gauteng-Durban corridor, which can only be electric.
Yeah.
How are you going to assist the market there?
So we were looking at what do we have in the B fleet in terms of electrics at this stage. For us, it's actually irrelevant whether it's diesel or electric. We have competencies in both areas. We just don't have our own design of an electric. But from that perspective, if there's a serious demand, we will definitely look at what B fleet we can bring back into operation, or depending on how the slot sales are structured at the end of the day, if rolling stock is provided with them or not.
Leasing, maintaining,
building. Yep.
So it's still pretty close to what Transnet Engineering is known for.
Yes.
Just under a special purpose vehicle, from how I understand it from the leasing side.
Yes.
Will it have its own management structure? Will it be managed by TE?
It will be a joint venture. So it will have its I think it depends on our equity partner as well at the end of the day, how we structure the company. But it will have an independent management team to drive that.
And then part of, just kind of looking at the fleet that you have available that you can put into this, are you going to look at new?
We have had some discussions with some OEMs who are quite interested at this stage. I think it all depends on the numbers, because initially I don't think the South African demand is going to really warrant a new build. We've sort of got a thumbsuck 100 locos for South Africa as a starting point. But what we're also looking at then is a cross-border option with this lease go as well. Our group BD team has done a thorough analysis of the neighboring countries and the demand. And we think there could be as high, I don't want to quote numbers at this stage, but a significant number of cross-border opportunities as well. Because I think most countries have the challenge of being able to afford rolling stock. That capital outlay is huge, and if they can lease them and then recover that cost while they're operating, so much the better. It's part of the discussions we've had with Kenya as an opportunity, looking at establishing an upgrade for their own rolling stock in country as well. We're happy to do it on a basis. We're not looking to do all the work here in South Africa, for sure. And setting up operations in countries to do the refurbishment of their locos there.
Let's go back to TEL, because you started talking about TEL.
Yes,
so let's finish the TEL conversation. Yeah. Great to see 3 are out on lease. When are you going to make some more?
I'm always reminded when I think of TEL about Roy Falk, coming from the defense background myself. Brilliantly engineered, top technology, but we couldn't sell it to anybody.
Because it's not affordable.
Okay. But I think that, we're really aiming to get the cost down on it. It's performing extremely well. It's being used by TFR to shunt on the ore line, so they take the rakes from the main line into the tip lane back. It's just starting, so we can't really brag too much about its performance, but I do know the drivers love it. And as I said, with the new condition monitoring system we've implemented, I think that the maintenance costs are going to come down over time, because we have to do more predictive and on-condition maintenance than the traditional maintenance. But that it's a well-engineered product is no doubt. We have to pitch that against African demand, and we're hoping to get the re-engined or the repowered 35 class out at about $2.2 million, which is going to be very competitive. On the other hand, you've got the TEL, which is a lot more expensive. But I think it's horses for courses at the end of the day. What we have to get our minds around is what I call batches of one. So instead of setting up a production line for 100 units, can we build one at a time, and try that approach and build on demand.
All right, so I think that's pretty exciting, but let's also just touch on the year that has been.
The most exciting part to me has been in our manufacturing area this year. And we've closed close to 900 million rands worth of work outside of our traditional TFR type work. We are totally dependent on TFR for our income at this stage, and we need to diversify from that, not to be reliant on that. We remain the biggest engineering company in South Africa today, bar none. Once we came to grips with that, we started approaching all the other state-owned entities. For instance, we have an ongoing discussion with Denel at this stage to be a manufacturing partner for Denel. There's no reason that we can't manufacture armored vehicles here in our plant. It was in fact done historically in Koreasport, so it's nothing new to us. It's the same dominant logic. And we've approached all the other SOEs with the Minister's support, and we're getting great support from DPE on this. We're trying to set up a collaboration at an engineering level between the SOEs to diversify, first of all, our own, but also to ensure that this investment is maintained for South Africa. At the moment, we're all in silos, everybody's battling, and if we don't do this, we're going to lose some serious capability along the way.
How has the work with Transnet Freight Rail been? I'm very sure that this year has been challenging with the strikes.
It's been challenging for everybody in Transnet. I'm beginning to wonder if we're in the 12 plagues or biblical plagues. Since I arrived here, we've had one disruption after the other. So we had a massive flood down in Durban, which knocked out Umbilo depot completely. The water went through the depot 2.3 meters. So you can imagine everything was under mud. And then the main plant at Bayhead, over R1 billion worth of damage. So what we did, obviously, and I think Porsche put it nicely, if you're the biggest engineering company in the country, who's going to help you out? You've got to help yourself out. So we did. We moved a lot of teams into Bayhead, stripped our own equipment, been repairing it ourselves. We cleaned up the plant ourselves, and now I've really got to take my hat off to the team in Durban. I can't begin to describe how much mud we had to shovel, literally hundreds of tons of mud. And the plant's mostly up and running. Most of the businesses are up and running again. And then obviously we had other setbacks. The strike, it's been a long, tough year.
So what are the things that you're really looking forward to next year?
A whole new commercial environment next year, where we're going to have to sharpen our pencils and really, really get competitive. A strong focus on manufacturing. The port hauler, as I said, is doing operational testing at the moment. When that's finished, we'll be setting up a production line in Durban for the port hauler. We already done a lot of work this year on other port equipment. With the standardization plan for port equipment with TPT, we hope to get a fair share of the new equipment that they're going to be bringing into the country. There's a lot that we've done in the past, in fact. I don't think people really know about it, but we've built straddle carriers in the past in TE. So we're looking at reopening all those avenues to take that position of being the largest engineering firm in South Africa, and not just to be known for our rail and rolling stock capability. We spoke about the leasing company, but part of that is going to be wagons as well. So we're already surveying the B fleet wagons, looking at what we can bring back, especially flatbeds and gondola wagons. We'll build up our own fleet of those as well, so that they'll be available for leasing. And hopefully it'll be a one-stop shop for people that are looking for rolling stock. I recently went to the UK. We studied their model there, and I was impressed by the total agility of their system. You can hire a loco for one day there if you want to, with a driver, without a driver, without maintenance, with maintenance, whatever. And that's what we want to bring into TE, is that level of flexibility now. But I think forming a JV with a private partner will bring other expectations to the table, strong commercial focus, and then just building on our partnerships. We've had a great year with some of the local operators as well, and just seeing how we can exploit the synergies between the organizations.